Immigration is the process by which people come into a foreign country to live there, and citizenship is the state of having the rights of a person born in a particular country. Obviously, both concepts are connected because of its close relationship with social matters, and normally they might not be the cause of an issue. But when people collide in a conflict because of them, one question should be answered because of its great importance. Does a citizen born in a country have the right to attack the immigrants that enter it? Good morning, public present. Debaters, today we find before two different positions on this issue, which we will raise arguments, try to persuade us, and try to enrich our opinion about this problem. To my right, those who are in favor, composed of Jose Emiliano and Jose Ricardo, and to my left, those who are against, composed by Angel Peña and Victor Cardenas. Team in favor can start.
Well, our thesis says that an immigrant deserves to. Our thesis says that an immigrant deserves to be respected and to get citizenship with all its rights.
From our perspective, against a country does not have the obligation to give citizenship to every immigrant.
Well, according to the philosophical postulate of Alexis Papazoglou, what matters the most while talking about immigration and its implication over citizenship is the concept of being a citizen of the world, which means that everyone, no matter country of origin or racial traits, must be considered as an individual with rights just because of being human. In other words, what should matter most are the human rights. But from here we have two ideologies which clash because of its differences: the communitarianism and liberalism, both of them being linked to a philosophical way of thinking. The first declaring that what gives you rights in a society is your membership on it, which would mean that unless you are a member of a community, if you enter somewhere new, you don't deserve any kind of right, but instead be attacked and persecuted. All of this while the second posture talks about our inherent rights. Some antique texts, which are a good example of liberalism, are the Declaration of Independence and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and their conflict with the modern anti-immigrant policies in the United States is born when these same policies go even further beyond, and start to make use of ultranationalism and discrimination as a way of segregating justice. Thus, what matters the most is that being an immigrant is not a valid reason for discrimination and hatred.
Well, according to the philosophical postulate on John Rawls' law of people, the right to mobility without borders should always be respected, even though there is no applied international rules that obligates countries to receive every immigrant possible. There is a right established in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which states that everyone has the right to live in a country, including his own, and to return to his country. So it wouldn't be completely wrong in a philosophical way of thinking, and taking into account the purpose of man in this life, to conclude that if a country is not fulfilling the right to its best effort, they are violating it. Apart from this, the wrong comprehension of the definition of something being fair has caused these discrepancies between laws and rights. Rawls established that countries should understand that cultural or political contexts do not determine the fair concept.
No matter what says a paper, we are from where we are born. We carry the culture in the blood of our ancestors that runs through our veins. We can change that, and the fact that we want to belong somewhere doesn't mean you can abandon that. A great part of immigrants, after getting naturalized, they discriminate their fellow citizens of other country. Just of what? A paper? They become hypocrite, thinking they are better for a paper, abandoning the culture and going to a culture they hope they get accepted. And when they are not accepted, they get offended. That racism in the naturalization is just a circle of hypocrisy. One should live and accept where they come from, or at least recognize that the place they live is not their motherland.
The nationality of a person reveals his place of birth. It defines where he belongs to a particular nation. On the other hand, citizenship is granted to an individual by the government of the country. When said individual complies with the legal formalities established by the country, the nationality of a person cannot be changed in any way, unlike citizenship, which can be changed by legal proceedings. An individual can process this citizenship for more than one country at a time. Immigrants should not expect the full rights that come with their citizenship just because they want to feel like part of the country. These rights should only be granted by when the person shows it can bring something to society and goes through the correct legal process. Even if these requirements are met, a person chooses to become a U.S. citizenship, his nationality still remains the same.
Human rights protect humans from any kind of injustice or abuse that might hurt them in any way. They are also universal and thus protect any person that belongs to human species. Immigrants are humans like all of us, and giving them protection does not mean that an open border policy must be strictly implemented and followed. Thus, in order to be ethical, a country may defend the human rights of its accepting immigrants, but not necessarily has to apply free pass on its borders, as long as it does not deny functionality of the human rights of any individual.
It is true that governments, following local and international laws, have the right to control immigration, meaning they can deport irregular immigrants if the situation deserves it. But this doesn't mean they don't have the right to enjoy basic civil, economic, and social rights of the nation in question. Either they have been living some time there or they just got there. This is because modern democratic states do not make criminals free from our rights. Human rights are still a thing for many law offenders. They still deserve to be protected, to be well treated, and to still be a part of society. This does not mean that law offenders, who can go from irregular migrants to killers and every other stuff, should get benefits, but they still are a living being, and human rights protect every human being. But now, if we morally talk about this scenario, generally, law offenders don't get to enjoy human rights like they should. So what's the point of having if you cannot use them? So basically, irregular immigrants are law offenders, or like every other law offender, they are still protected by human rights, and they will always be. So maybe it's time for a change.
USA already has problems with racism. And these people, the moment they turn American, they become even more racist themselves to their own people, creating even more conflict, harming our name as Americans, and harming their own culture. This is the base of this conflict the moment they turn American. They betray their own people, and while presuming that they are American, creating an inexistent racist war, not between those two, not between those two, but within their country and America.
Illegal immigrants claim that they want fair treatment as well as every other American, even if they have not gone through the correct process of nationalization. But they break the law from the moment they decide to cross the border in an illegal way. There is no way to trust people like this that demand respect from the US while they themselves do not respect the country or its law. It is not a matter of race, but a matter of law.
Regarding to Victor's argument, uh, we must say that it's true that most of the immigrants we're talking about tend to break the law in order to achieve their American dream, but it's also true that nowadays policies under the specific context of immigration and nationalization intentionally try to subjugate those who intend to have an opportunity inside a new country. This with an extended zero tolerance ideology in which the most affected are those who don't have any ill intent towards the American citizens by born. Thus, what we're trying to take care of are these individuals exclusively, the persons who might be of beneficial nature towards the state, as well as they deserve a beneficial reaction from it itself. In other words, our proposal is not about open borders nor zero tolerance, but comprehensive integration.
Regarding to Uncle argument, so what you're basically saying is that immigrants are responsible for all the acts of hatred committed against them. Just because they're being racist with their own culture, reading between lines and saying they don't like the roots, like what if they are just looking for better opportunities? Those that their country culture couldn't give them. They're all the right to move across borders and look for what they think is best for them. If they think becoming American will impact their life in a positive way, they can do it. Of course, I'm not saying that just because they want it, they can have it. If they are legal immigrants, law is law. And yes, they're gonna get deported if caught. But always enjoying basic human rights like protection and good treatment. So the idea that people are being racist against their cultures, which is actual nonsense, just because they are looking for a better life, cannot be considered a part of this problem, by the simple fact that hate cannot be tolerated and nor racist activities. And the more crazy idea that this racism against their roots is fueling racist acts across the American border, well, it sounds too real to be taken seriously.
Talking about Jose Emiliano's argument, it is true that human rights exist to protect all humans as equal, but the US comes with strict border laws which must be followed step by step. There is no reason why proper protocols should not be practiced regardless of race, even physical force if it's needed. And having human rights does not negate the fact that every country has its laws, and basic human decency does not mean protecting immigrants to the point of sheltering them as they try to cross the border illegally.
According to Ricardo's argument, it's true. Citizen rights and human rights are a little bit the same, but not exactly the same. So immigrants do share both rights, but we're talking about illegal immigrants. Illegal immigrants do not share the civil rights. Human rights, yeah, but civil rights, no, because they enter as criminals. They are breaking the law, and we can just make an exception for those who enter without our permission. That is against the law. Uh, so it's illogical that they can get those rights that are the civil rights. Illegal immigrants are and will be treated as criminals, not just as someone who is welcome to enter a country without permission. Because all the immigrants who do all the process, who go to get all the papers ready, are more than welcome to the country.
Arriving at this point of debate and seeing the different positions of the participants, we are able to recognize that the United States has its strict laws and rules regarding its borders, and they should be respected. On the other hand, and it has been seen throughout the debate, migration occurs when a person moves from his place of origin mainly because of a wish of achieving a better quality of life for himself and his loved ones. And while there are several individuals who do this in a legal way by fulfilling all the requested requirements and following every step needed, there's also a lot of people who unfortunately cross the border illegally for different reasons, mainly economical. But even when they are breaking the law, this fact cannot take away the fact that they are all human beings and they must be treated with the respect they deserve because of this, not falling in any kind of discrimination because of their different customs, language, traditions, or physiognomy, and relying in the fact that they have the dreams, goals, emotions, and that their origin and characteristics do not make them less important than the native citizens. However, and even when it might be considered cruel, government has the right to return or imprison someone who broke its laws in such a manner as entering its territory without consent. Additionally, we must mention that all those individuals who entered illegally but have made a living throughout time and effort should be treated fairly, thus avoiding deportation when it's not necessary, something that might be evaluated throughout a special test in order to see their compliance with established laws and if they have generated a positive action. If it is the case, they could be allowed to stay and possibly get the permanent residence. Otherwise, government has the decision to do what it believes convenient and whether draw upon arrest, deportation, or integration. With this, we conclude the debate. Have a good day.